Hello and welcome everybody to the English Grammar Lesson Level Advanced. If you are new here, welcome, and let's introduce our website teledom.online. If you will like today's lesson, do not forget to visit our website where you can find all the scheduled online lesson and online meetings here. And if you become a guest, you can get all the materials that we use on today's lesson and we use on previous lessons. Okay. If you become a guest of our educational website, you can get the recordings of past lessons and recordings of past online meetings. So that was the quick introduction, and let's jump on today's topic, and that is phrasal verb. There is only one thing to remember before we start, and please note that this is an open lesson. So if you don't understand or want me to translate a word or a phrase, do not hesitate to stop me anytime, and I will be happy to go back, translate it, or explain it. So remember that, and let's start. Today's lesson is already third lesson in a row or series of 5 meetings dedicated to huge or big English grammar part, and that is phrasal verbs. If you listen or speak English, you come across with phrasal verbs on daily basis. So what is a phrasal verb? Let's review the definition. We already said that phrasal verb consists of main verb and an adverb or a preposition. An adverb and preposition, we call it a particle. So sometimes you can see the definition that phrasal verb consists of main verb and particle. Like in any other English sentence, phrasal verb provides an action in a sentence. So in a regular sentence, there is a verb that provides an action. So it's the same for a phrasal verb. There is one but big and important difference, that when we combine the phrasal verb with the particle, the verb phrase or phrasal verb takes on a new meaning. So it means it gains a new meaning. We already talked on previous lesson that a phrasal verb can have a literal meaning and idiomatic meaning. So what is it? So for example, phrasal verb take off. Take off has many different meanings. First one, the literal one, is take off. So remove your clothes. Take off your jacket, take off your hat, for example. But there is another meaning, and that is idiomatic meaning. And take off, when we talk about aircraft or airplanes, means to start flying. So when I say the plane takes off at 11 o'clock, it means the plane starts flying at 11 o'clock. So remember that, and this is the most important thing to remember when you want to learn and master phrasal verbs, that it can have not only one, not only two, but sometimes even more meanings, not just the one simple meaning. So that was the review, quick review, what we learned on previous lessons. If you didn't join us on previous lesson and you want to catch up, visit our website and you can get for the materials and recordings of past lessons. But today we will focus on phrasal verbs with prepositions on and off. So let's start with the most common ones or the most basic phrasal verbs, and that is to talk about lights or machines or electrical devices. So when we say the light or machine is on, it means we switched it on or turned it on. The opposite is turn off the light or switch off the light. We could say as well, leave the light on. So it means do not turn it off. So remember that. Phrasal verbs, the most basic ones, are to talk about lights and machines and devices. So let's study more examples. Shall I leave the lights on or turn them off? Should I switch them off or switch them on or switch them off? Next sentence. Is the heating on? No, I switch it off. You can see that you can really choose which verb you want to talk about. So you whether say turn on or switch on, or as well switch off or switch on. And the last example, we need some boiling water. So I will put the kettle on. I will turn on the kettle. As well, we cannot talk about just the lights or machine. We can talk about music, for example. So to put on some music is really switch on the radio or the device. So in a sentence, I haven't listened to this CD yet. Shall I put it on? Really means, shall I play it? Shall I switch the radio on, for example? So remember that. Very common phrasal verbs with on and off talk about events. So I would say the most common phrasal verb is go on. And usually you see it in a question. In a question, what's going on? What's happening? That's the very common one. I'm sure you have already seen it somewhere or heard it somewhere. So go on, happen, or what's going on? What is happening? Next to call off and put off. They have very different meaning. So when we call off something or call something off, we cancel it. So we stop it and the event will not happen in the future. So in the sentence, the open air concert had to be cancelled off because of the weather means that the open air concert had been cancelled because of the bad weather and it will not happen in the future. But another phrasal verb, put off or put something off, means to delay it. So there is a difference between cancel and delay. So when we put off something, we delay or postpone. So the event will happen in the future. So in the sentence, the wedding has been put off until January. The situation is that we planned the wedding on 31st of December, but later on we put it off until January, so we delayed it. So keep in mind there is a big difference between phrasal verb call off, that is delayed, and put off, something delay. So remember that. Let's study more of these meanings. So and now I want you to complete the sentences using verb put plus preposition on, so phrasal verb put on, and choose the correct following noun. So let's look at the sentence number 1. It was getting dark, so I... Does anybody know?
Switch on the light.
Very good. Put on the light or switch on or turn on the light. Very good. Number 2, it was getting cold, so I
Switch on the heating.
Very good. Switch on or put the heating on. We'll stop now for a second and remember we talked about separable and inseparable phrasal verbs in a first lesson. That means sometimes with some phrasal verbs you can insert, so put on the light, or you can say put the light on. In these basic phrasal verbs you can always separate the main verb and the particle and insert the object or the noun usually between it. So let's move on. Number 3. I wanted to bake a cake, so I put on.
Put on the oven.
Very good. Put the oven on or put on the oven. Both of these forms are correct. So it is really up to you whether you want to say put the oven on or put on the oven. What about number 4? I wanted to make some tea, so I Does anybody know?
Switch the kettle on.
Very good. Switch or put the kettle on. Very good. And let's finish the number 5 sentence. I wanted to listen to some music, so I
Put a CD on.
Very good. Put a CD on or put on a CD. Like I said, it's up to you whether you want to separate the phrasal verb or leave it together. Let's move on to more phrasal verbs with preposition on and off. So many times we use it to talk about clothes. So to say put on clothes mean to put them physically on, put on glasses or put on makeup. So really clothes and accessories. So in the phrase, my hands were cold, so I put my gloves on, I insert the gloves on. The opposite would be take off, clothes, glasses, or accessories. So put on, and the opposite is take off. It was warm, so I took off my jacket. It would be correct to say, so I took my jacket off. Remember that. Put on and put off clothes. You can try on clothes as well to see if they fit you, or just when you go shopping, you can try on clothes. So that's another phrasal verb related to clothes. And the last one related to clothes or more physical appearance is to put on weight. Is really to gain weight or get heavier. So if I say I've put on 2 kilograms in the last month, means I've gained 2 kilograms. I'm 2 kilograms heavier since the last month. So put on, really, if you think about it, it has more than 2 meanings. So put on clothes or put on weight. With the preposition off, we talk about usually when something is going to be away or away for a person or place. So when I say I am off to somewhere, means I'm going away. So in the phrase, tomorrow I'm off to Paris or I'm off on holiday, means I'm going to Paris or I'm going on holiday. It's very informal to say, oh, goodbye, I am off for today. So I am away from the office or from the work for today, for example. So be off. Remember, always choose the correct form of the verb be. I am off, she is off, we were off in the past. So remember that. Next are verbs with similar meaning. So walk off, run off, dry off, ride off, go off. Really, you can change the preposition off with the adverb away. So walk away, run away, drive away, ride away, or go away. So if you want to say somebody's going away, so in a sentence, Diane got on her bike and rode off. Ride, rode, ridden. That's a past form. So she just went on and went away. Next sentence, Mark left home at the age of 18 and went off to Canada. So he left home and he went away to Canada. So off basically means away from person or place or some object, for example. Remember that. Walk off, walk away. Run off, run away, and etc. And the last common phrasal verb with preposition off is set off. I put it that it means start a journey, but we could say in general it means to start. So in a sentence, we set off very early to avoid the traffic. So it means we left home very early, or set off a meeting. So let's set off the meeting. So let's start the meeting, we could say. So that's another common phrasal verb. Now I want you to take a minute and study these phrasal verbs. If you have any question related to these phrasal verbs, now is the time to ask. So remember, put on clothes or take off clothes, try on clothes, put on weight, so gain weight, and phrasal verbs with off. So for example, to be off, I'm off on holiday, I am off from office. To walk off, that means walk away, or run off, run away. And the last one is set off. So start a journey or start some process, really. Let's study more of these phrasal verbs. Now I want you to look at the pictures and complete the sentences. So let's start with the first picture. Her hands were cold, so she... Does anybody know the answer?
Put on
Very good.
the
gloves.
gloves.
Or her gloves. Yes. So she put her gloves on, or we could say she put on her gloves. Very good. What about second picture? The plane.
The plane take off at 10:55.
Yes, very good. Or we could use it in a past simple took off. We don't know whether it's a regular scheduled flight or it was just yesterday, for example, but good, take off. What about the third picture? The match. Remember, delay and cancel. Remember that? What was it? Does anybody know the answer? The match was put off. Put off the match because it was cancelled. Okay, put off. The fourth one, let's look at the picture and finish or complete the sentence. He took his glasses out of his pocket and put them on, or put on his sunglasses, we could say as well, or put his sunglasses on. But we switch the noun, sunglasses, to a pronoun. It is up to you whether you want to say it this way or to say, and put his sunglasses on. Good. Let's move on to more phrasal verbs. So very common phrasal verb with preposition on really means to continue. So when we say go on, I'm telling you to continue. Or drive on, to continue driving. Or walk on, continue walking. Or play on, continue playing. Remember, verb plus preposition on usually means to continue doing something. Next one is carry on. It has the same meaning as go on. So go on, continue, or carry on, continue. Let's look at the example. We can't go on spending money like this. We will have nothing left soon. It really means we can't continue spending money like this. We can't go on. We can't continue. Next example. I don't want to carry on working here. I'm going to look for another job. Really, it means I don't want to continue working here. Remember, go on, carry on means, or drive on, is to continue doing something. Last phrase that I want you to focus on is the phrase keep on. Keep on doing something. We usually say if we want to encourage somebody to do something. So keep on doing that. Or in this case, or this sentence, he keeps on criticizing me. I am fed up with it, so I have enough of it. He continues to criticize me, or he continues criticizing me. Remember, some main verb with preposition on usually mean to continue of some action or some doing something. I want you to look at these phrasal verbs, take a minute, think about the meaning, and we will continue with some quick exercise. Now I want you to change the underlined words. Keep the same meaning and use some verb plus preposition on or off as well. So let's look at the number 1 sentence. The meeting continued longer than I expected. So does anybody know the answer?
Went on.
Very good. The meeting went on. Very good. You always need to remember that, like any other verb, phrasal verbs, they change their forms according to the tense you want to express. So the meeting went on. Very good. What about second sentence? We didn't stop to rest. We continued walking. We didn't stop to rest. We could say walked on as well, or carried on walking, or went on walking as well. What about the third sentence? Martin phones me constantly. It's very annoying. Can anybody finish the third sentence? Martin keeps on calling me, or goes on calling me, or carries on calling me. You can really choose whichever phrasal verb, carry on, go on, keep on. They basically have the same meaning. So Martin keeps on calling me. It's very annoying. So he phones me constantly. And let's finish the fourth sentence. Gary doesn't want to retire. He wants to continue working. So Gary doesn't want to retire. Please finish the sentence. Anybody?
Go on working.
Very good. Yeah. He wants to go on working or carry on working or keep on working. So remember that carry on, go on, keep on can be changed and can be switched. And let's move on to the last part, and there are verbs with off. It's not like with the verbs plus preposition on, because we said that most of them have the similar meaning, to continue, but phrasal verbs with preposition off, they have not the same meaning. So for example, let's start with doze off. It really means to fall asleep. In a sentence, the lecture wasn't very interesting. In fact, I dozed off in the middle of it. It means, in fact, I fell asleep in the middle of it. I start sleeping. So doze off, very informal phrasal verb. Next one is more common. Finish off. Finish something off means to finish the last part or do the last part of something. So in a sentence, have you finished painting in the kitchen? Nearly. I will finish it off tomorrow. I will finish the last part of the painting tomorrow. Really. So finish off, do the last part. Next one is go off. You can come across with two meanings with go off. First one is explode. So bomb can go off. A bomb went off in the city center, but fortunately nobody was hurt. So the bomb exploded. Or we can use phrasal verb to talk about alarm. And really, when the alarm goes off, it rings. So if I ask, did you hear the alarm go off? I'm asking, did you hear the alarm ring? So go off, explode, or when we talk about alarm, it's that the alarm rings. Next one is put somebody off. So do not mix it with put something off, okay, to cancel. But if we say put somebody off or put off somebody, it really means that somebody loses interest or to cause somebody not to want to do something. So if I say, we wanted to go to the exhibition, but we were put off by the long queue. In this case, we lost the interest. We lost the interest in the exhibition by the long queue. Or in the question, what put you off applying for the job? We could say, why did you lose the interest applying for the job? So put off somebody or put somebody off, usually from doing something. Next one, and I want you to keep in mind that rip somebody off is very informal, so do not use in cases when you feel that it's not a home environment. So rip somebody off means to lie somebody or cheat somebody. In a phrase, did you really pay £2,000 for that painting? I think you were ripped off. I think you were lied to, or somebody cheated with that painting. So you paid too much, basically. Rip off somebody or rip somebody off means to lie or to cheat somebody. But be careful, this is an informal phrase or informal phrasal verb. So do not use with somebody you don't know. And finally, the last phrasal verb for today is show off. Show off means if you want to impress people. with your ability, your knowledge, or your possessions as well. So if I say, look at that boy on the bike riding with no hands, he's just showing off. So he is trying to impress somebody. So let's study more the meaning of these. So like we said, doze off means to fall asleep. So in the phrase, her grandmother is used to doze off after lunch. So he's used to sleeping after lunch. Doze off. Next one, we talked about finish off or finish something on means to complete or finish the last part of something. So if I ask you, can you finish off this crossword for me? It means, can you do the last part of this crossroad for me, for example. Next one, we talk about phrasal verb go off. So we could talk about bump. So or gun, in this case, the gun suddenly went off. Or we said we can use phrasal verb go off with alarm. So when alarm starts to ring, the alarm goes off. Go off. We mentioned phrasal verb put off somebody or put somebody off is really to do something that the person loses the interest, or you want to avoid that person. So in the sentence, he put Martin off until 9 o'clock means he was sad, or they were have a meeting, for example, at 8 o'clock, but he needed to postpone or put it later, put Martin off, put somebody off. The next one, very formal, remember that, is rip somebody off. So cheat or lie. So in a phrase, designer clothes are just expensive rip-offs. Please, I want you to now focus in the sentence because we do not have phrasal verb in the sentence. And we change the phrasal verb to a noun. This is a specific case. We cannot do it with all phrasal verbs. It is not just a rule that we can do it. But sometimes, for example, with the phrasal verb rip off, we can do it. So designer clothes are just expensive fakes, or we could say cheating devices, for example. So rip-offs. And the last one is show off. So if somebody's showing off, that person is trying to impress. So she only bought that sports car to show off. She wanted to impress other people, to show off. You can show off by yourself, or somebody else can be show off. Now I want you to create your own sentence using these 6 phrasal verbs. Just choose one, create a sentence, and write it in a chat box. So please, now is the time to do it. So create your own sentence. You can check it. Okay. Like I said, please create your own sentence using at least one of these 6 phrasal verbs. So it's up to you. Doze off, or finish off, or go off, put off, rip off, or show off. Okay, I will check it. So you can put it here in a chat box if you have created the sentence. We'll show you. If not, let's do some exercises. I have already put the exercises in the chat box. You can do it on your own or you can do it with me. So let's complete the sentences using a verb in the correct form. So number 1, it was warm, so I... Does anybody know the answer? So I took off my jacket. Next one. What are all these people doing? What is
going on?
Very good, thank you. The third sentence. The weather was too bad for a plane to... So the flight was delayed. The weather was too bad for a plane to take off. Very good. Different meaning with the first sentence. My took off jacket and took off plane. Good. What about the fourth sentence? I didn't want to be disturbed, so I...
Turned off.
Very good. Turned off my phone. The fifth sentence. Don't until tomorrow what you can do today. There is a mistake. Do today. So, which one?
Put off, maybe?
Put off. Very good. Do not postpone or do not delay anything until tomorrow what you can do today. Good. What about the sixth sentence? Are you cold? Shall I get you a sweater to...
Put on.
Put on. Very good. To put on some clothes. Very good. What about the seventh sentence? We can't spending money like this. We will have nothing left soon. So we can't continue.
Go on.
Go on. Very good. Go on, continue. What about the eighth sentence? I'm not ready to go home yet. I have a few things to...
Keep on.
Finish off.
Finish off. Very good. To do the last part of an assignment or homework or some just basic work. Very good. Keep on. Remember, it's continue. So in this case, in the previous sentence, we could say, we can't keep on spending money like that. So keep on, continue, finish off, finish the last part. And we have two more sentences. So Ben was by his boss for being late for work repeatedly. So remember, which one is it? Ben was put off. So he lost the interest, or we did something for him to lose the interest. And last one, Bill paid too much for the car he bought. I think he was... No.
Showing off.
Showing off. Very good. To show off means you want to impress somebody or try to impress somebody. So show off. Very good. And now is the time for your questions. Please, if you have any question, go on and ask it. Okay, if there are no questions to be asked, I would like to say thank you very much for being good students today. I hope you learned at least few of these phrasal verbs. Like I said in the beginning, do not forget to visit our website celadom.online, and you can log in next Thursday at 11 o'clock to join us on English Grammar Lesson Level Advanced. Thank you very much and have a nice day, everybody.